Welcome, welcome everyone. Hello, how are you doing? Welcome to Virtual Vino, brought to you by DMV Dist. My name is Felicia. I will be your host for the evening, and thank you all for joining us. If you've just come in, please leave a comment. Let me know where you're coming from, where you're viewing from. We want to see, how broad we are tonight. Hope everyone's having a pretty safe and not too bad of a Thursday weather-wise. Cloudy, but, not too bad. We're going to brighten it up with some wine, I imagine. So, where is everyone from? I'll tell you guys, I'm coming in from Rockville, Maryland. I do have a couple of guests coming in for me this evening, 2 in Virginia and 1 on the shores of Delaware, who I know I'm going to be super jealous of come the weekend with this weather we have coming in, which will be great for these wines. Maryland, Lion and Dove Moscato. Annapolis, welcome, Annapolis. You guys are going to have some great times this weekend with that weather. Annapolis as well. Hello, hello. Lake Linganore. Welcome, welcome. Ooh, Glenwood. Hello, Glenwood. How's everyone doing down there, up there? Annapolis, Maryland. Annapolis is in the house tonight, okay? The sales are out. We are setting sail for this virtual vino tonight. Silver Spring, yay, near me in Montgomery County. Hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for your comments. I genuinely appreciate it. Gaithersburg, Rochester, New York. Now that is north for us. Alexandria, Virginia. Very nice. Very nice. Rochester, Silver Spring. Yes, Silver Spring. We are all around. This is so great to see. Well, thank you guys. Thank you all so much for joining. I'm being prompt as well. Sometimes some of these things can start off with a hitch, and we really appreciate you guys for logging in right at 7 o'clock to view this week's virtual vino. And like I said, my name is Felicia Chandler. If you didn't hear that before, I am a wine specialist here for DMV Distributing in the Montgomery County area. This evening, I will be joined by 3 other gentlemen, which I'll get into the introductions later. But first, let me just start off by welcoming you guys to the night. We'll have 4 wines this evening like we do every week. Today we'll have 3 Lion and Dove wines. We'll have the Sauvignon Blanc, the Cabernet, and the Moscato. And we will also have a new BRUT that we've got in from France, the Les Ali. So, as you folks may know, we do this on a virtual vino on a weekly basis every Thursday starting at 7 o'clock. So please share as much as you can, like, comment, ask all the questions that you want. That's what we're here for. We want to educate you guys in the wine, and we also want to hear your input. So if you taste anything that maybe we don't taste, let us know. Like, we want to explore the wine in the same way that you do. So we're just kind of going to flow with it and have a good time. All right. So if you guys weren't aware, we are also on YouTube. We are on Instagram at DMV Dist. We're also on Facebook. So just like, share, comment as much as you can. We really appreciate all the feedback and all the support that you guys give us. It helps us get the products out there, and we just want to give you guys great wine. So we want to also take a moment to thank all of the people that have helped us come together to make DMV Distributing's virtual vino what it is tonight. Especially, we want to thank Rodman's in DEC. We also want to thank Market Tavern in Sykesville and Pratt Liquor Convenience in Baltimore. Thank you guys so much for supporting tonight's virtual vino. You may have been able to grab a bag there that would have had all 4 of the wines, as well as a tasting sheet that we'll kind of use tonight to help guide us through the tasting. So now that we have that, oh yes, thank you so much, Jess, for popping that on the screen. Tonight when you're viewing, you're going to see a lot of random, not so random things popped up on the screen. Jess is in our back of the house, kind of behind the scenes taking care of stuff. So you're going to see a lot of really great images, as well as a lot of great information to kind of tie all this stuff together. But before we get into the wine, let me just introduce you into the folks that'll be joining me this evening. It's going to be a gentleman's night, I guess, here tonight on Virtual Vino. So I'll just be the host, kind of honing it all in. But tonight we'll have joining us first, Brian Henninghaus. I apologize for that. He's from Great Falls, Maryland. He's also known on Instagram as @Brewscapes. He's a WSET Level 2, which is, some of you may know, is a wine certification that we have here in the industry. And he's also a Cicerone, which is basically a sommelier for beer. So basically, if you want to know anything about beer, this is your guy. His Instagram is dedicated to that, and you're going to learn a lot of information from him. He frequently hosts wine dinners and things like that, wine tastings in the DC area. He's been featured in a few magazines and different postings and publications. For those of you that don't know, we also will have 2 other reps joining us this evening. I apologize. Austin is our newest rep in Delaware, not new to the company, but new to the region. We just recently expanded to that area. He'll be joining us, as well as Marcus, who is our Southern Maryland rep for the night. So if we can, we'll bring up Brian to kind of give a quick hello, and a little bit better understanding of his background. I may have not given all of you the greatest understanding, but Brian can definitely introduce himself. How are you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing well. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's I was thinking I probably do maybe 60 to 70% of these kind of events for beer, and then maybe 30 to 40 for wine. So it's not a rare treat, but it's a bit of a treat, and I'm honored to join you guys. You got my intro done pretty well. Yeah, I'm a certified Cicerone, which is a beer sommelier, WSET level 2, and I'm actually taking the next level exams for both this spring, which should I pass at 3 and then advanced Cicerone, I think I'm like one of 7 people in the world who would have that combination. So we'll see. They're hard tests. I'm looking forward to this tasting. I've already tasted the wines and they're really good. And it'll be fun to bring that perspective and maybe tie it into some similarities with some beers that I can offer up as well.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, hopefully you're able to join us next week on our following virtual Vino, where we'll be featuring 4 Paris Valley Road wines, and then we'll also have the California wine specialist and account manager. I'm sorry, I forgot his name at the moment. Brian Peterson will be joining us. So that should be exciting. Hopefully you'll able to join and grab some of the wines then. Mm-hmm. All right, thanks. So yeah, we'll have the Chardonnay. We'll also have the Zinfandel, the Merlot, and the Cabernet. So it's going to be a red full night. Tonight we're going to have a bunch more wine, white wine. So next week there'll be more red heavy, just to kind of, I guess, balance things out. And then just to kind of go into the night, let's introduce our first and not only presenter for the night. We'll have Austin come on in, say hello.
What's up, guys? How you doing today?
Good. How are you? I don't think we got you on screen just yet. There we are.
Happy to be here. No, it's gonna be a great night tonight, guys. I'm feeling it.
Everything down there in Delaware for you? How's the weather?
The weather was good down here. Besides last night, today the weather started getting a little bit nicer. So I mean, hopefully we're supposed to be getting more tomorrow. That'd be nice for business all around. So.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be super great. And then we also have Marcus joining us. So let's bring Marcus onto the stage.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Marcus. How are you doing?
I'm doing phenomenal. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you joining us tonight to spread some of your expertise.
I appreciate being here, and I love this DMV family that I've just joined back in December. I look forward to doing more virtual vinos.
Nice. And we look forward to having you on more. All right. So, Austin, would you like to tell us a little bit about our first wine of the evening?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we got here is, I actually have the mini. A lot of you guys are going to have the 750s, but or you may have bought the minis too as well. But what we have here is the Valle, which is from Burgundy, France, which is absolutely amazing what they do down there. I'm not sure. I'm going to get a little bit more into like the depth of what Valle is, but Jess actually just showed up a map of France, or a part where Valle is, which is in Côte d'Or, right down there where the Burgundy is. It's right southeast of France,
Nice.
from Champagne. And what's really cool that I've been learning about this is Valle, this is not a champagne. And I'll get into depth of that, because what really makes a champagne is it has to be made into the region champagne. But what we have here is just a sparkling brut, which usually call it a Cremant in France. And you have a bunch of areas that make Cremants in different regions, and all they have different kind of levels and stuff of how they make them. But it is really pretty much the same thing. They do ferment the same way in the second way of in the bottle, and that's how you get the bubbles and all. And it's really fascinating. I did not know that, and I did not say this before. I actually started selling wine last year in March. So all this stuff has been new to me, and it's so fascinating. Once you actually really understand on the labels, you actually get more experience out of it, especially in even food as well. So, if you guys want to, let's pop it open and let's taste it.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys. So you get a nice little pale color to it, maybe a little bit more than a straw. What do you guys
That's
think?
delicious. Yeah.
Light.
What do you guys get in the aromas? You viewers out there too as well, give us something a little bit, you know? I mean, you get some nice juicy citrus. I feel some tropical fruits. What do you think, Brian?
I think I'm getting almost like some stone fruits, and the tropical fruits as well, like an apricot maybe or a peach.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
I definitely get some peach in that.
I'm getting a little stone on the finish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me too.
And it's
Great.
so I've actually never really liked bubblies until I actually started selling, just because I'm actually getting more into, just like I said before, learning about the wines, knowing which ones you should try in a way to maybe expand your experience, you know?
What do you gentlemen think would pair well with the Leali?
White fruit desserts, some fatty foods. Brian?
Definitely for fatty foods because it'll cut the grease right off your tongue. It's very refreshing from that perspective with the effervescence. I mean, you can also just straight up use it as an aperitif too. I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
Caesar says they're tasting a bit of oak, and I would agree. I got a little bit of oak on the nose, I would say, and then just a little bit right in the beginning on the palate.
Yeah.
So can definitely see how you got the oak and the peach for sure. The stone fruit, I would say, it's super loud. It's not even loud, but for such a light and mellow body, it's very mellow. It's delicious. It's very delicious.
Very delicious.
I mean, you can maybe make a light mimosa with this. Throw a little OJ. I wouldn't overdo it. Maybe a little light OJ, light mimosa or something if you wanted to. You know,
I do have an Aperol spritz myself, so I could definitely see this going well.
Marcus, what do you think, man?
I think this is great. This is a great value wine. It's got nice, firm body. It's lighter. It's got good texture. The bubbles are smaller. Smaller bubbles means it's better crafted. I'm not really a sparkling fan, but I do like this one.
Very nice.
You can have some more.
Yeah.
And Austin, what would you say the average price point on this wine is?
So for the $750, I would say maybe around $9.99. Like Felicia said earlier, I just started selling in Delaware, and I've actually got some placements down there. So when you go in towards the Fenwick area, Bethany Beach area, Rehoboth, look out. It's around the $9.99. You know, maybe a little bit around Maryland area. I'm not maybe $11.99, $12.99. But
nice.
Really affordable, you know. And it's I expect instead of getting an Andre, try a little bit. You know, spend a couple more dollars a little bit to try something new, you know, and it's from France. So
this would be so good on the shore in the summertime with like a basket of shrimp.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
This would be spectacular with that.
Absolutely.
Well, that sounds phenomenal. Okay, well, I don't want to get hung up on this too long because honestly, I do love bubbly. I could talk about this all night.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I mean,
throw a bunch of minis in the cooler. Love that idea. That sounds like the plan. So for our next wine of the night, we're going to have a second white wine come on in. It is the Lion and Dove Sauvignon Blanc. Marcus, would you mind giving us a little bit of information about Lion and Dove, the brand, and just the wine that we have in front of us?
Well, the Lion and Dove is a brand that comes out of Chile, South American wine. It is west of the Andes. It's grown in a cool, tropical, not too temperate, not too warm climate in Chile. It's in the Curico Valley, which is a little bit south of, I want to say, Santiago.
Mm-hmm.
The valley is known to have limestone volcanic rock at its base, and you can taste that in the wine in that valley there. It's a very nice, crisp Sauv Blanc, in my opinion, and the grape Sauvignon Blanc originated in France, but it's grown all over the world now. New Zealand is now one of the main areas that grows Sauvignon Blanc Sancerre in France. The Chilean Sauvignon Blanc is on the rise, and this is a very, very good Sauvignon Blanc in my opinion. I'm pretty sure my sister would like this. My wouldn't shout out to her. And he is a Sauvignon Blanc drinker. Sauvignon Blancs go well with any of these dishes that are coming up for the spring holidays. I think now would be a good time to try it. You guys agree with me? Let me know. I'm gonna pour me a glass right now.
Absolutely. Any time is the right time to try wine. All right.
You can see it's pretty light Sauvignon Blanc. Straw in the color.
Yeah.
What are you guys getting on the nose? The nose, by the way, is how the wine smells.
I'm definitely getting a lot of green grape, or I'm sorry, not green apple on the nose, I would say.
Green apple, and even like a grassy sort of to it too.
You know, grapefruit.
Yeah,
A hint of grapefruit. It's not like a New Zealand Sauv Blanc where like you're just gonna get
it's light.
all on the nose. This is a lot lighter because
Yeah.
of the climate and the limestone and stuff, the way it's grown, and the
And then what I've learned about tasting wine and stuff, when you smell, you want to open up your mouth as well, because then you open up your taste buds. You know what you're getting. You actually kind of get an idea of what you're getting when you're going to taste it, actually. That's what I've learned, and it's definitely helped in my experience in tasting wine.
Kara has a great question, if anyone cares to answer. What's the difference between Chilean and New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc?
I think Marcus, you just kind of answered that a little bit earlier.
I'd say New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc is going to be more. It's going to be a little bit crisper. It's going to be a lot more
Grassy
and grassy. While Chilean Sauvignon Blanc is going to be a little bit subtler. It's going to be not as bold as like a New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc. That's mainly the difference that I have seen. You might see something different.
Sure.
Yeah,
Brian, did you have any thoughts on that?
well, I did pick up some grassiness actually in this, but maybe not as assertively as something out of New Zealand. In terms of the differences between them, I would agree with Marcus. Chilean ones are a little more subtle. They're a little more, I don't want to say muted, but muted maybe, not bold, but in a good way. They grow on you a little bit. They express themselves a little more slowly. This one, I got the green apple, I got the grassiness, and I got, again, like a sort of a stone fruit, passion fruit aspect out of both the aroma and the taste. But it's delicious.
Absolutely.
You can notice the color, the straw color of the Sauv Blanc. It's very, very light in color. It's not going to be like a golden, like a Chardonnay. You can see the difference in the colors between the sparkling and the Sauvignon Blanc. Sauv Blancs typically are lighter in color.
Big difference, actually.
And do you gentlemen have any dishes that you might pair with these items? Brian, where would you maybe course this in one of your tasting dinners?
So again, it's very acidic. So it could go with something, and think of anything greasy, anything rich, like Alfredo sauce with the pasta, or going back to the clams and mussels and that kind of thing. It would still work there. So from an acidity perspective, I think it would go very well with the rich dish. I think from a flavor perspective, you get a lot of complementary satisfaction out of actually putting it to. Actually, this would be more of a contrast. I think going with say like a spicy dish, maybe pad thai, something like.
What do you think of like a salad with like a nice vinaigrette?
What's that?
You know, what do you think of like a salad, like a fruity salad with a nice vinaigrette? Just because
there you would be complimentary, absolutely, because you'll get the tartness out of the vinaigrette and the tartness out of the wine. That would go very, very well too. I think you would get some pleasant contrast with the spicy dish. And if you want to cut the fat, cut the richness of you name it. Again, I keep going back to like a cream sauce, like an Alfredo sauce or something. I think it would go well with that from that perspective too.
Very nice.
Oh, absolutely.
I think
Making
we
me a
should
little
go
hungry
great
now.
with some crabs. For all my Marylanders out there, I think this would go great with some crabs.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. I would say Sauvignon Blanc is absolutely like the epitome of a summer wine. It just gives you a little bit of a crisp taste of just, it's just relaxing. It's bright. It keeps everyone kind of in a great mood.
It's got spring written all over it.
Oh, absolutely. From the nose to the taste.
Here's the spring.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah, that actually might not be bad. Yeah, the cream shrimp and grits.
Oh, absolutely.
With that shrimp and all. Oh, yeah.
Oh, Brian, we have a question here about, do you have any comparable ways for styles of beer with wine? I love a Sauvignon Blanc when my husband's a beer drinker. Is this comparable in any way to a particular style of beer?
Yeah. So with white wines, particularly a wine that's going to be very acidic and it's balanced. Don't get me wrong. There's certainly a tartness to a Sauvignon Blanc. The beer style that will absolutely track to it, even down to the fruit pairings and everything, will be Belgian lambics. They'll be nearly. In fact, that's a gateway beer for wine lovers because it's going to come across very tart. It's going to come across very vinous in the mouthfeel. It's going to have, particularly if it's a blended lambic, it's going to have a lot of effervescence, which will pull in something more like what the first wine that we tried. But imagine that like in all beer is going to be is going to be carbonated. So imagine that inside of a Sauvignon like this. Additionally, going a little bit further afield from lambics because they're kind of hard to find in the United States. Only 57 total wine. Look at something like a Belgian Saison. Look at even a Belgian triple. They're going to have a tartness. They're also going to have much more of a sort of funky barnhouse flavor to them, which you don't catch in this, but you will catch some of the grassiness, some hay aspects, and that kind of thing. That'll at least be somewhat reminiscent of the Sauvignon Blanc. So, really, when you're talking about white wines, the nationality of beer that you really want to take a strong look at is the Belgian beers. Particularly the lambics, and then particularly out of the Trappist tradition, the triple, and then also the saisons, or also called farmhouse ales. Those three will have a strong affinity and a strong resonance with white wines, and particularly the lighter white wines. Chardonnay gets a little more. It's heavier, it's buttery. So there's different beers for Chardonnay, and we can talk about that as well. But for a Sauv Blanc, definitely a lambic, and then if you can't find that, I think you'd get some satisfaction out of a saison or a triple.
Very nice.
What do you think about a sour beer? Because I've been told some
A lambic is a sour beer.
What's that?
A lambic is a sour beer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're wild fermented, and they're extremely tart actually. So you may be referring to like a kettle sour, like a ghost.
Yeah, I'll say like the more American kind of style. Yeah,
they would work as well. They won't have as vinous of a mouthfeel. They're going to be a lot lighter and almost like sort of Pilsner lager light in terms of the body, whereas the lambics come across with a little more substantial body. But yeah, I think a ghost or a Berliner Weiss would work as well. You got to be careful with those though, in terms of how they're being presented in the craft industry right now, because a lot of those beers they'll say, okay, I'm a Berliner Weiss, is really just like a Jamba Juice. I mean, they're just dumping so much puree into it that you can't taste the underlying beer anymore. So yes, if you can find like a clean Gose, like from Anderson Valley or something, and then those would be kettle sours as opposed to the wild sours, which are the lambics. That I would agree, Austin. That would work as well. But I would go for like a clean pureed one.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I met a rep who told me sours, and I was like, sours can be a little bit overwhelming in a way too, as well. Like you're talking about the purees and stuff.
So yesterday, to give you a great example of that, 2 days ago, I was so lucky to get a bottle of what's called Cantillon Faux Foam. It's a lambic from Belgium, from the producer Cantillon, is one of the better ones in the world. And the way that they address that is this one was macerated on apricots. So, you have the tartness of the lambic, which comes in from the lactic acid and from the Brettanomyces and the various different microorganisms that are creating the tartness as it goes through. It's a 2-year fermentation cycle with those. But then once they were done with that, they threw it on apricots, I think, for 5 weeks. And it was enough to infuse that beer with like a nice essence and sweetness of the apricots that really balanced out that tartness and presented. There's a reason that beer is regarded as highly as it is. But yeah, so that's it. You want to look for something that's going to have some amount of balancing to it, so that you're not just essentially drinking a liquid Sour Patch Kid, which some of them can be.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to recommend some, and the Belgians do a lot with the lambics, whether it's apricots or the Crakes, which are rested on cherries. They'll do a lot to balance out those sour flavors in them. Again, then you can look at domestically, if you want to try a kettle sour, to your point, I would really look at Anderson Valley, because they do a good job in Colorado of producing a Gosa without the garbage in it, for lack of a better word. It's a really nice, clean Gosa that would be a very nice compliment to this wine.
Very nice.
I appreciate that. That's awesome.
Wow. Yeah, that was incredible.
Yeah.
Thank
what do
you
you
so
guys
much.
think out there, the viewers? What do you think of that? That's awesome.
The line of Dove Soft Blanc is it's not too expensive. You find it between $11.99 and $13.99, depending on where you're at. It's available all throughout the DMV area. Not the V, just the D and the
The
M.
D and the M.
We got to get into Virginia. I'm in Virginia. We need you guys here. What's going on?
It's coming.
We're not in
It'll be
Delaware
there
yet
soon.
either, though. So
You go to Delaware first, but not Virginia?
we're not in Delaware yet.
Well, thank you so much for that. And Marcus, could you give me just a little bit more information about the lineup? So I heard that it was a kosher and a vegan wine. Do you have any information maybe to help explain to people how wines may become kosher and or vegan?
Well, both the line and Dove is kosher and vegan and gluten free. Kosher means being blessed by a rabbi, and it's I'm terrible at saying this word.
Mevushal.
Mevushal.
I always have a tough time saying that too.
That's just I'm good with words, but that just
It's tongue twister.
Mevushal. Yeah, so it's Mevushal, which means it's like flash. So it still reaches the requirements for it to be a kosher wine, but anybody can pour it. And it's gluten free, meaning they don't use any type of gluten in it. Typically, with a wine barrel, they might seal it with some wheat paste, and that might get a little bit of gluten into the wine. They use a different material and it keeps it gluten free. And it is also vegan because during the fining process, a lot of places use maybe like egg or something to get the impurities out of the wine. They use maybe charcoal or like a different substance to keep it fat or meat. You know what I'm saying? So that's why these wines are awesome, and then that's why I like it.
Very nice. Very nice.
And they're affordable. I mean, it's they're good wines and they're affordable. You can't beat that.
Very good wines. Don't have to break the bank to get a good wine. That's the beauty of the world we live in today.
All right. Well, let's get on and talk about our next wine. Marcus, will you tell me a little bit about the Cabernet?
So I've got the line and Dove Cabernet Sauvignon. For those who don't know, Cabernet Sauvignon is the baby of Sauvignon Blanc and Cabernet Franc. Sauvignon Blanc, which means wild white in France, was originally from Bordeaux, but it grew like a weed and went everywhere. Some brilliant genius back in the day decided to combine them two, and we got Cabernet Sauvignon. This is one of the most highly produced grapes, highly drank grapes in the world. California has made millions off of this grape. France, it's everywhere you want it to be. The line in the Cabernet Sauvignon, it's grown off the 35th parallel, which is in the southern hemisphere. They're going into winter now. It's fall, spring for us, and cool climate. It's a great buy for a good cap staff. I'd recommend this wine. I think it's time to go for a pour and see what everybody thinks about it.
Mm,
It's the new one too.
this
This is
is
our new
good.
one. This is really good.
My favorite so far.
Got a nice dark color to it.
It's so catching. It's just kind of light in a way to me. I don't know. I like it.
She's got
Sometimes
nice.
The mouth feels a bit light too.
Yeah. It's got a nice little garnet color too.
Yeah.
Garnet ruby.
hmm
It's got like a little orange tinge on the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost
And a
like a
little-
rust, if you will. Yep.
But you can still see the stem really clearly too. It's
Oh yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
I'd say it's kind of like if you want to get introduced to like a nice Cabernet, very affordable. I mean,
Mhm.
you can eat this.
This is a good quality cab. I got a little corky on. A little bit of oak on the nose, black cherry. A little bit of smoke.
You get some light, yeah. Actually, no, you get some more oak, yeah. Mm. You do
Nice.
get like a nice little, I don't know, dryness tongue in the finish.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
an acidity to it. Mhm.
Get to like a little dash of vanilla there on the end.
Mhm.
It's a
Very
young
nice.
wine. You can tell that this is a young wine.
This would be a good juicy steak wine right here.
Gentlemen, do you believe that this steak, with this Cabernet may go well with Moroccan short ribs?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, a little beef, little spice. So we're seeing here that we've got what? The red color. What's everyone else seeing out there? A little black licorice. Okay. That's a very
Yeah,
nice.
I mean, the thing is that the beauty about
I
wine,
definitely understand what you're saying on the black licorice. I can get it on the nose
everyone's
for
got
sure.
different taste buds too. So I mean, some people may be tasting something, some people may be tasting something else. You know, I mean, it varies. But
Yeah.
I mean,
I've been letting mine breathe for a while.
yeah,
It's got a nice good taste to it right now. Been letting it breathe for about 30 minutes before we got on.
mm.
Very nice.
That one's smooth over there, Marcus. You let that one breathe. Oh yeah.
Brian, would you mind explaining to some people out there the benefits of breathing the wine?
Breathing the wine opens up the. It would be analogous to warming a beer. We don't really breathe beer, but we warm beer. In that it opens up the bouquet of the wine. So if you put a wine into a decanter, or if you just let it breathe in your glass, you're going to open up the bouquet. It's probably going to warm a little bit anyway, depending on what your cellar temperature was when you pulled it out. And the advantage to that is as you open up the bouquet, your sense of smell and your sense of taste combine to make flavor. So you can't really separate one from the other. So if you get more complexity in the bouquet and in the aromas, you're inevitably going to get a bit more complex perception of flavor as well. So, and the same thing works with beer, although we call it warming. We actually raise the temperature a little bit in that it acts on the beverage in a way that opens it up, expands the bouquet, expands what you experience when you sniff it, which in turn helps you to discern more complex flavors.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And are there any vegan beers out there that we may not know of?
There are, yeah. So that's a new thing. It's even newer probably in beer than it is in wine. And the reasons that beer would not be vegan are very, very similar to wine, and has to do principally with products that are used to clarify the beverages that are sometimes derived from animals. Vegan beers, do I know a brand right off the top of my head? There's one here in Northern Virginia that's producing some vegan beer. If you're collecting a distro of names, I can provide some options afterwards to you that you can send out to the audience. But yes, vegan beers are starting to become a thing. The other thing that you run into in beer is some beers have milk in them, particularly stouts will have some amount of lactose in them, and some sours today actually have some lactose as well. So you have to look for that and get rid of that for the vegan folks. Then also check into how they're clarifying the beer, and that's where you run into the same constraints and challenges that you have with wine and making wine vegan, because we use the same substances on the beer side. Happy to provide a list of the vegan breweries. And unfortunately, I don't have one off the top of my head, but I can, Felicia, give that to you, and you can send it out to the.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, or
We have
yeah.
question for you here from Lori. She was wondering, do you like using wine aerators?
I'm 50-50 on it.
I would say it depends on the wine. If you have a young wine, you don't need to. You do, in my opinion. But like if you have wines that are more aged, if you don't like the complexity of it, just let it breathe. Then yes, use the aerator. Because
so I guess
sometimes
we'll go
it's too strong on the tongue and all, in a way. So you may want to soften it up, and that's what the aerating will do to it.
So I guess we'll ask a new tech versus old world question, opinion based, gentlemen. Would you rather use a one of those aerators you pop in the wine, let it breathe, or the classic style decanter?
I'm old school. I like the decanters. It's just the presentation of it.
The show, yeah, the show must go on.
There's a showman show personship aspect to drinking and the presentation I think matters, and for me, that's why.
Absolutely, Marcus. I have a feeling Marcus feels the same with the decanters.
I feel the same. I'm an old. I'm a 70s baby. I'm old school.
They make a trick to make everything easier these days.
Sales in this wine. I think what I've learned with the sales and now wine, it's like I think experience is everything. If you can kind of lift that experience, like adds value, and it just overall makes the experience better. So,
that you articulated a lot better than I was able to. It really is the experience, and I think if you want to have the full experience and add that into your overall impression of the wine and of the events that you're serving the wine at, I think you want to. I would do that.
I don't have a decanter yet. I'm going to though, because it's like, hey, it's almost like when you have people over at your house, you go to someone's house, and it's like people don't really use that as much. But when you bring it, it just kind of makes the experience so much better. Just adds a little bit, it's just decorative kind of piece to the party a little bit.
All right, and so I would assume the price point is similar for the Cabernet Sauvignon.
Around $11.99 to $13.99 in the district and in Maryland.
There we go.
Thank you very much for the clarification, Marcus. All right, let's see. I love this new vintage of Cab. Do you think this will age or it will drink now? I like to have wine around to age. What do you gentlemen think? We can age
them. This one, since it's kind of light, in my opinion, you can just drink it now. But I think in Cabernets, it kind of is your own preference to what you like. In a way. What do you think, Brian?
What strikes me about this one, I meant to ask you guys when we were doing the initial tasting on it, it seems a little, and this is in a good way, but it seems almost a little bit lighter. Like more like a low, not in terms of taste or anything else, but just in terms of the mouthfeel and the sip. And I think, that's another sign. This is something that you could enjoy right away. I'm sure it's certainly capable of aging, and it might gain some complexity. But it's something. I think it's something that you could enjoy. I'm enjoying it right away, right now. This is really good.
Do you gentlemen have any recommendations for someone maybe starting out with aging? Will be a proper way to age wine?
Lay it on its side so the cork doesn't dry out, and rotate it periodically. Keep it at about 48 to like 55 degrees. If you had a wine cellar, that'd be great.
I'm just gonna throw one in the apartment right now. This is the wall. You don't see it, but this is my build out. All right. Well,
that's big though.
Huh?
That is big. When you store your wines that have corks, you want to have it on its kind of certain side, and like what Marcus was saying, because if you don't, it will dry up, and that's when you break it.
Yeah, a broken cork is a sad time. It's not the end of the world.
Very nice.
That's
right.
As bad as spilling a drink.
So before we move on, does anyone else have any other comments about the cab that we can? So like not an overwhelming cab, it's a good fireside cab. Some cabs don't need food. This doesn't. You know what?
Agreed.
I totally agree.
Totally
I love myself. I'm a chocolate and wine kind of girl.
If you like California cabs, this one's not going to be as bold as those, but this is a good quality cab. Chilean cab it's on the rise. It's very nice. It's smooth. It's bold, but it's not like in your face.
We got a comment saying you can chill it too. So I mean, it's maybe you can drink in the spring and summertime if you wanted to. Get a little chill to it.
I chilled mine a little bit. I had mine at 55 degrees in my wine chiller.
I need to get one, to be honest.
I got lucky. The bar I used to work at closed, and my boss, who's awesome, was like, "Would you like it?" And like, yes.
Okay, you definitely can't pass that up. That's a steal.
So,
Absolutely.
more like a hell yeah, I want one. But yeah.
Ooh, what temp is the best for this cab? And Mark,
I had it at 55. I thought it was great.
I'm not really. I need it in
50s.
55 degrees. You bring it out at 55 degrees. You pour it. You let it breathe. By the time you get done with the bottle, it's nice and perfect. I plan on finishing this one tonight. I don't know about these other three, but I'm definitely gonna finish this guy tonight.
It's quite good, actually. Wow.
yeah.
I mean, I do have to work tomorrow.
Well, all right. Without further ado,
Zoom meeting in the morning.
Austin, would you mind giving us a little bit of information about the Lion and Dove Moscato?
Oh, absolutely. I like sweet. I don't like overly sweet things. This is absolutely delicious. It's very refreshing. We got the Lion and Dove Moscato. Beautiful blue bottle, very attractive. It's from Puglia, Italy. So what's interesting, it's a lot of our Lion and Doves are from Chile. This is the one that's not from Chile. It's from Puglia, Italy. And what's really cool about I like to get a little bit more like kind of fun facts because I'm into it a little bit. Puglia, Italy is actually known for growing olives and supplying about 40% of olives in Italy, and then 12% of production in the whole world, which I thought was really cool. And they have also like 50 varieties of different olives too. I thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's really incredible.
Yeah, I mean I know sometimes you go into kind of explaining about the soils and stuff like that, but like it's also kind of cool to learn about the area itself in general. And I thought that was kind of very interesting because I like olives too. And when I heard about that, I was like, I mean that was awesome. I learned about that and growing 50 varieties of different kind of olives. I didn't do that.
Yeah, I didn't even know there were that many types of olives.
I didn't either, so I was just like, "That's pretty awesome."
Which one of these?
For everyone out there, if you have feel free to leave some comments below. Let us know what you think of the Moscato. Send any tasting notes you might have, any pairing questions or pairing options that you may come up with on your own. Gentlemen, what kind of tasting notes are you getting from this wine?
I guess a melon. Oh, I love some melon.
Yeah.
Citrus, yeah.
Yeah, honeysuckle for me, right on the nose.
I think it got some kind of like a sweet, velvety taste to it in a way with some nice, crisp bubbles. I don't know. It's just like mineral. I don't know. The bubbles really hits it perfect.
That's an interesting contrast in this too, because it's it's a fairly substantial mouthfeel, but the bubbles kind of cut into that, and the effervescence makes it seem a little bit lighter than it is. It's interesting.
Absolutely.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
Tatiana says that she loves this Moscato. It's not overly bubbly, great for someone who doesn't like carbonation, and I would have to agree. I mean, I think you have to turn a corner and start to love bubbly, but if you're not too into the bubbles just yet, this is definitely a great and subtle wine for you to start.
I would say, to be honest, this would give seltzers a run for their money. Put this in a can, test that up. This would give seltzers a run for their money.
I would have to agree.
Very
that?
light, very sweet.
Very light.
Yeah.
But it's true natural flavor to it. The melon, the citrus, You have
and how does it get those bubbles like that? How does the Moscato actually get bubbly? Brian, can you kind of elaborate on how Moscato becomes a bubbly wine?
It would become a bubbly wine I mean, without getting into like the riddling and like everything that you would do with champagne, but any beverage that's not Coca-Cola, but if you're talking about if you're talking about a beer or a champagne or the Ales we did earlier today or the Moscato, this is the byproduct of yeasts that have continued to ferment after your primary fermentation, after you're inside the big fermentation tanks, even into the bottling, there's some residual yeast that will continue to ferment. And as they ferment, one of the byproducts that they give off is carbon dioxide, which will naturally carbonate the wine. You can do that either in the bottle, and I don't think there's any residual yeast in this bottle. There usually isn't in wine like beer, but you can also, you can also do that in, on site in the winery and use the yeast. You can do it artificially as well. You can use carbonation stones. You can use anything like that, I suppose, too. But I think traditionally you would use the yeast itself and deny it a means of escaping the vessel, so that the carbonation, the CO2 is absorbed into the beverage itself.
The World Service Authority says this Moscato is light, crisp, and delightfully fruity.
Absolutely it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I say it gives the seltzers a run for their money in a way. So we put it in a can. Money.
I used to sell this at National Harbor for about a year and a half, thanks to Gina, the DMV rep, who was awesome. I used to buy this from her. This was one of our top-selling Moscatos. I sold a lot of this. Before we closed, I probably sold 3 cases of this. If you like sweet wines, I'd recommend this for you. It's very light. It's very smooth. Pairs well with all types of sweeter things.
That's a good question there.
I'll say some of the desserts. Something that's kind of sweet in a way, so you get some more like the melon and fruitiness of the wine. Something maybe spicy. Someone has, a dish.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of cut into the spice a little bit. So you get more.
It would balance very nicely against something spicy.
What do you think, Brian?
I'm trying to think of anything traditional Easter that's spicy, but yeah, I would agree. Yeah.
I couldn't think of anything for like Easter. I hadn't really had much spicy for Easter, but
Me either.
if they had anything spicy, this is perfect.
I would agree. Yeah, if you had a spicy dish for Easter, it would work. And then if not, obviously dessert. I think you could even get away with some kinds of poultry with this. I would think.
Yeah.
But for me, my sweet spot, this would be with desserts. That's what I would do.
Yeah,
For sure.
absolutely. I'm thinking maybe like a lemon sorbet, I don't know, pie or something.
Yeah.
Girl Scout cookies.
Make it a little bit.
The Easter bunny cake, the lamb or whatever.
Absolutely. But at the end of the day, it's the same kind of affordable price that you get from what we have from the Cabernet or when we have from Sauvignon Blanc. $11.99, $13.99. It varies in certain areas, but very affordable. And this is a must-try, absolute must-try for people. Like
Absolutely.
I said, it's sometimes some of the Moscatos are too sweet. This one was just right. It's perfect.
Great. Does anyone else out there have any other questions or comments for us? We'd love to just take all these while we can. I think I saw a question asked and answered in the comments there. Thank you, Jess, for the behind the scenes. Ashok, I'm sorry, I don't want to say your name wrong. Ashok asked, is this Moscato DOCG, DOC, or IGT designation?
I think it's IGT on the back of the label.
IGT.
IGT. Mm-hmm.
Oh, there you are. This is nice. I don't usually like sweet wines, but this is good. Yeah. Sweet wines have a way of being a secret killer, You don't think you're going to like it, and then you have 2 or 3 sips, and you're like, okay, that was really easy. Maybe I want some more.
Well, that's the thing with wines. When I first started, I wasn't really big into Cabernets. But it's like, you got to learn which wines you need to buy in certain ways to kind of hit your taste buds the right way.
It's also a matter of where you pair it, too. Because if you pair this with the right food, it's not going to taste as sweet, and then you'll get a whole different experience out of it.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Making it on your, like in your backyard. Yeah.
This Moscato, if you started your dinner with oysters and this, it would be an interesting comparison how it would take away from that salty to the sweet. So
Yeah.
You could definitely go any which way with the Moscato. It's kind of what I like about it. I personally myself, I would drink a sweeter wine with, a spicier dish or even a sweeter dish, just because it's an easy drinking one. You kind of can't get anybody that won't like it. Like, sure, it might be too sweet, but if you need something as a crowd pleaser, as something to kind of keep everyone, like Marcus said, he sold so much.
Yeah, your Sauvignon Blanc.
What was that?
You got your Sauvignon Blanc. I mean,
oh, absolutely.
Lion and Dove's got everything for you.
For sure. And for those of you that aren't aware, we have a couple of varietals in the Lion and Dove brand, a few others, I should say. And most recently, the Lion and Dove Chardonnay was actually featured in the Washington Post. So a lot of our wines actually are typically featured in the Washington Post, and we do a great job of just trying to get that information out there. So if you're out and you see it, please pick it up. Dave McIntyre has loved this wine once, and I'm sure he'll love it again, and just as much as you will. I mean, this is dangerous, especially on a warm day. Oh, absolutely dangerous on a warm day.
Oh, yeah.
The Backsburg social fruit. Absolutely dangerous.
Maybe sip some glasses by the beach a little bit. You didn't hear that from me.
Thankfully,
but yeah. About to get me a wine koozie, and I'm on my way to go see Austin with some Moscato at the beach, because it's definitely.
Oh, let's go. I would love to have it down by the beach. It'd be awesome, but one day.
In due time, absolutely.
Chile. Chile is one of the top 10 producing wine regions in the world. They Curico. It's Curico, Maipo, and Colchagua Valley that have really good wines coming out of it. The Coquimbo region, Aconcagua, the Central Valley region, South region. A lot of great wines coming out of Chile. Andes Mountains. A lot of good stuff coming out of South America. Great wines in the world.
No,
thank you,
absolutely.
gentlemen. I appreciate everyone for joining me tonight. Brian, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Was
great time.
Yeah.
You're a wealth of knowledge. I hope we can definitely bring you back in for another one of these virtual
I would love to. Thank
Marcus,
you so much.
Austin, thank you guys so much for coming in tonight and presenting the wines with me.
Cheers, you guys.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much.
All
and
right.
before we go ahead and head out, just to let you guys know, don't forget we do have a virtual Vino coming up again on April 8th, featuring the Paris Valley Road Chardonnay, the Cabernet, the Zinfandel, and the Merlot. If you're following us, we'll have Blake Peterson, who is the California wine specialist for Paris Valley Road. He'll be joining us to pretty much go through, just like Brian did, and give us a little bit more information about Paris Valley Road, wine production itself, and, the climate of California, maybe a place that we all maybe want to go see soon. Hopefully all of this cool weather gets away from us. And thank you again to Rodman's in DC, to Pratt Liquors in Baltimore, and to Market Tavern in Sykesville for supporting us this evening, for having the packages. If a store that you love doesn't help us, but doesn't support the virtual Vino and you believe that they should, let us know. Reach down in the comments and we'll reach out to them to try and get them involved. If there's any wines that we have that we love and you would love to see us review, please also let us know. We are here. You might see some virtual Vino neckers on the bottles when you go out to your stores. It'll make them easily notable. And then, as you know, the Lion and Doves will have this beautiful design, so they'll be there for you to see. The Le Ali that we've had tonight comes in two sizes, the 187 and the 750. 187s are perfect for a solo glass, and the 750s are great if you're sharing. And we just want to say thank you to everyone for joining us tonight. If you have time, please remember to look up everything that we showed tonight on Facebook and on YouTube. And I do believe that Austin is here to show us a little sneak peek of something on the way.
Surprise. We got a nice surprise for everyone going down to the beach soon. We just got a nice rosé in a can. Right from Chile. Tempranillo varietal. We've got it down right by the beach in Rehoboth area, Bethany Beach area, in the Fenwick area. So look out for a rosé in the can. It's going to be running probably around $15.99 a 4-pack. It's got some nice acidity to it. What's really good to pair with it, you get some nice seafood with a nice acidity kind of sauce to it. Maybe a nice salad with some vinaigrette. It's perfect. So look out for the new rosé, Seaside.
Very nice. And I know Marcus wanted to come in and say something before we left off for the evening.
I just want to say it's been a pleasure to be here. I hope everybody drinks responsibly. And I want to give a special shout out to my sister Maya. Go check her out at the Dope Kid. And check me out with our old pal Gina at Whining with Wine. And whoever else is out there that wants to get into this, just let us know.
Thanks so much. We appreciate that. And thank you everyone for watching. Thank you all so much for joining us this evening. And again, don't forget to join us on April 11th for our Paris Valley Road edition of Virtual Vino. Have a wonderful evening and enjoy your wines. Cheers.